Hello and welcome to Rolling with Reviews. I'm Will, and with me as always is the adjacent one I will always choose.
Oh, Sarah.
And today we're doing a review of Point City. Sarah, tell us a bit about this game.
All right. Point City is a card drafting, engine building game. Each turn, players take two adjacent cards from the grid and add them to their expanding city. Resource cards are used to construct building cards. Building cards provide bonus resources and possibly points. Civic structures let you take set collection scoring tokens. Ooh. When the deck runs out, the player with the most points wins. Okay, so Will, why did we get this?
Well, we are fans of Point Salad and Flat Out Games. Mm-hmm. And this seemed to be the evolution of what comes next after Point Salad. Mm-hmm. So we tried to see what it was like, and
we backed the Kickstarter, and we got it.
Yes.
And here we go.
Yes.
What do we like about it?
It's as if Point Salad had a baby with Splendor, and they made a smart baby.
Yeah.
Tell us a bit about the smart baby.
Okay, I could kind of see that because it adds engine building, but what's really dynamic and what Will's referring to as smart is this grid. And when you draft two adjacent cards, whatever cards were because they're dual-sided cards, there's resource on one side and a building on the other. So when you take a resource card out, a building card comes in, and when you take a building card, a resource card comes in. And the interesting thing we found is at the beginning, you don't really have much, so you're taking resources. And you're taking resources, but what that means is there's a lot of building cards coming in. The tricky part, you cannot take a building unless you can build it immediately at that point with the resources that you have. So we got to a point in both of our games that we played that there were building cards next to each other, and you'd have to build two cards at the same time. But you can't use, resource for more than one building on a turn.
Yeah. And also, if you build a building, you can't immediately use its resource. It's only good for the next round.
Turn.
Yeah. So if there was a building up in a corner, well, the only buildings or the only cards that are next to it are the ones, the two cards that are on the edges. Mm-hmm. You can't build something that's diagonal. And we found we actually could lock ourselves in. It's I planned to build that card in the corner, but now I can't because I can't just take a resource because there's no resource there.
Right. Now, the good news is you'll never get completely locked up because you can always take two resources off the top of the deck.
Yes. And based on how the deck is tiered, the lower tiers are actually going to give you even better resources than the top tier.
As you work through the deck, you can start getting double resources, and you can start getting what they call ingenuity, which is it's a star. So it's a wild resource and can be used for anything that you want. Yeah, it's magic.
Make believe.
So we really enjoyed that, just the way that the drafting, because in Point Salad, you could take two cards from the display, but they didn't have to be adjacent. So you'd have three basic columns because they'd come down from the decks. But you could take one from one column and one from another column. But here they have to be orthogonally adjacent. So your strategies start shifting, especially if you're planning okay, I can build this building and I'll take the resource. But then on Will's turn, he takes that resource, it's now a building, and I'm like, oh, I can't do this because I needed that resource to build the building, so what am I going to do? So you have to constantly be shifting and changing to, work with what's there.
Yes, and there is a lot of choice when it comes to your turn. I calculated there are 25 drafting options. 24 of them just exist on the 16 by 16 grid, and the 25th is just pulling straight off the deck.
Right. So you always have a lot of choices. And of course, you can't just build an engine because, you could, but you need to get cards that give you points. So a lot of the cards that give you a resource don't give you points or give you very few points. But there's certain cards that just give you a civic icon, which means you can take one of the scoring tokens, but they don't give you any resources. Or there's ones that give you a lot of points, but also don't give you any resources. So you've really got to balance this in, yes, you need to build an engine, just like in Splendor, but you need to make sure you're gaining points along the way So you can actually win.
Yes, because that's the whole point
Yep.
of this city.
Yeah, Point City. Okay. The other thing we're going to definitely have to mention is what we talked about in our Rolling with Two. Accessibility in this game is fantastic. For vision accessibility, it does everything right. The icons are unique. They use words. It's all got great contrast with the background. Everything's easily, recognizable. If I was giving out an award for, most visually accessible game of the year, I would at least nominate Point City.
Yeah, we
because-
gush about it in the two-player
Yes.
perspective and accessibility.
It's good.
Yes.
Okay. What do we not like about this game?
The setup.
Yeah, unfortunately, and this is the downside of Point Salad as well. Setup is a bear. I don't feel as bad as it is in Point Salad, but the flip side of Point Salad, in a two-player game, you could set it up to have 3 rounds of a game.
Yeah, just ready to go.
Ready to go. But here, yeah, there's 3 tiers of cards, and you're having to take out a lot of cards, whereas at a 4-player count, you're only taking out a few cards. So it's just a bit more work because you have to separate all the cards, shuffle them so it's random, take out all these cards. You don't shuffle them back because you want to keep them tiered. But of course, as you play the game, stuff gets mixed up.
Yes.
So
then you have to resort
Then
it.
you have to resort it. So it's just not the best, but it's just not the best. On the other hand, I think that's all
It's the price you pay for a good game.
yeah, that's a good way to put it.
Yeah.
Who is this for?
I think this is for a wide range
Yeah.
of people.
The only thing I can say is look at the mechanisms, because when I was telling a couple of people about it, one person was like, wow, that sounds really neat. And the other person was like, ooh, that is not for me. So I think weight-wise, you're right. It can work for a lot of different people. But if you don't like engine building, tableau building, drafting, it's very mechanism-focused game. You're not getting a whole lot of theme. I mean, I love the art, don't get me wrong. It's very cutesy little buildings and things. But just like Point Salad, the point of the game is the mechanisms.
And scoring points.
And scoring points. So if you don't like the mechanisms, you might not enjoy the game.
Yeah.
All right, ratings.
So for our ratings, we each have 1d6 worth of ratings to give. 1 is low, 6 is high. Give a number, a reason why, add them together, and see what it rolled for us. Sarah, what did Point City roll for you?
I'm really torn on this, but I think I'm going to give it a 5. It's just not quite a 6 for me. I think part of that has to do with the setup, which I know, like you said, it's the price to pay for such a great experience. But I just think that brings it down I don't know how else you would do it to make this that random.
Right.
But I do really, really love the game. I mean, I really enjoy everything that you do. The graphic design is just blowing me away. I love that they keep it simple and clean and crisp. And I find it really engaging. That grid, it blows my mind, that the way the cards come in and out. So I do really, really, really love it. It's just still not quite the perfect game for me.
Yes. I agree with you for all the same reasons, so
okay.
I gave it a 5. I think it also doesn't form the strongest theme.
Yeah. Again, the art is really nice. I mean, I love that there's a meeple statue.
Yeah.
But that's not what you're paying attention to when you play the game.
Yeah, and in fact, you're just trying to not pay attention to that because that's not important right now. I don't care that's a bus stop. I don't care that's a meeple statue. What I care about is how does this help me build my next thing, which is that thing over there that needs these icons that are easily to see.
Yes.
So yeah, you're really heavily into the mechanism, not so much in the theme. So if you're big into theme, this actually might fall a little flat for some players.
On the other hand, I mean, it's cute. I will give it that. And I actually really like that it's straightforward, sleek, clean, crisp. It's not in your face. But yeah, if you're looking for theme, this is not going to be it.
Yeah, it highlighted its strengths of we're really good at a mechanism. Let's make the mechanism as easy as possible to use.
Yes.
And it does gangbusters when it comes to that.
But still, 10 out of 12 is a highly good game.
Yes.
So definitely one to check out if any of this sounds interesting.
Yes. And Sarah,
Yes.
the real question is,
Oh.
salad or city?
Oh, I think we both felt point salad was also a 5. But here's the thing. This is almost a 6 for me. But point salad was solidly a 5. So I think for me, point city over point salad.
Yes, I agree. City is my choice because it gives me the engine building that salad didn't give me.
That's true.
And that's just one mechanism I like more than set collection.
True.
Even though this one has some set collection. And again, the whole grid thing is just stupid smart.
Oh, agreed.
All right, we've been rolling with reviews.
And remember, if you have any questions, comments, or concerns, you can reach out to us on the various social media platforms at
Rolling with 2. That's TWO. We are on Twitter, Facebook, and Instagram. And on YouTube, please like and subscribe.
And if you have time, check out the other content Nanaman has found for you, because remember, he's rolling with you.